What do the world's most infamous criminals have in common besides real estate, power and money? A surprising obsession with violence and luxury watches. This time around, I thought it would be interesting to make a list of 10 most notorious figures from the underworld. From Rolex and Patek Philippe to Cartier and Franck Muller, these men wore some of the finest timepieces ever made. Some were just status symbols, others were trophies and signs of unimaginable wealth. Let's take a look at the 10 of the most notorious criminals and the watches they were known to own or wear. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. El Chapo wasn't just one of history's most powerful drug traffickers. He was the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, famous for brutal cartel wars and dramatic prison escapes. He also owned an astonishing collection of high-end watches. When authorities searched one of his homes, they reportedly discovered an incredible selection, including a gold Patek Philippe perpetual calendar chronograph, referenced 3970, a Patek Philippe World Time 5110J, a Vacheron Constantin Malt 42005, another Vacheron Constantin asymmetric 1972 on bracelet, yellow gold and diamonds, and what may be the crown jewel of the collection, a white gold Patek Philippe Complications, reference number 5071G. The haul also reportedly included Rolex watches, an open Piaget box, and what appeared to be a gold Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. There's always a possibility that he kept these pieces because of their enormous value. For someone constantly on the run, his taste in watches was remarkably refined. Semion Mogilevich. Semion is often described by international law enforcement as one of the world's most dangerous organized crime figures. Mogilevich has been linked to the arms trafficking, fraud and transnational criminal networks. There are some informations that he is connected to the Russian state top and Vladimir Putin. The photographs of him are surprisingly rare, but one of the few available appears to show him wearing an 18K white gold Cartier Tank Americain, reference number 1741, an understated choice for a man surrounded by mystery. Pablo Escobar. Few names are more infamous than Pablo Escobar. At the height of his power in 1980s, the Colombian drug lord controlled much of the global cocaine trade and was linked to the thousands of kidnappings, murders, bombings and assassinations. Pablo Escobar's gang was known as the Medellin cartel and was highly organized criminal enterprise. Escobar had a taste for luxury, and his watch collection reflected it. He has been photographed wearing a diamond-encrusted yellow-gold Rolex Day-Date. It featured hundreds of aftermarket diamonds. It was seized by Colombian authorities and famously auctioned in 2013. Despite an estimate value of $70,000, the watch unexpectedly sold for just $8,500. A Rolex Cellini line has been closely associated with the cartel boss due to his portrayal in popular media. In the hit Netflix series Narcos, actor Wagner Moura notably wore a vintage gold Rolex Cellini, reference number 3805. He was pictured wearing a rare Cartier cloche, reference number 6603, and even a gold Longines 4483 with a black dial. His watches ranged from the understated elegance to the outright extravagance, much like the man himself. Terry Adams is a notorious British organized crime boss who served as the traditional head of the Clerkenwell crime syndicate, often referred to as the Adams family or the A-Team. Operating primarily out of the North London since the 1980s, the syndicate amassed an estimated illicit fortune of up to £200 million through large-scale drug trafficking, extortion, robbery and violent racketeering. Despite his fearsome reputation and the gang's alleged links to over 25 murders, Adams famously avoided direct convictions for violent crimes by insulating himself from the dirty end of the operations. And one fascinating detail emerged during the court proceedings. Prosecutors revealed that the Adams spent £2,200 at a police auction simply to buy back a Cartier watch previously confiscated by authorities. That's the clearest documented watch-related detail about him. Based on the photographs and reports, many believe that the watch may have been a Cartier tank. Apparently, some watches are worth buying twice. John Gotti, nicknamed the Teflon Don. John Gotti cultivated an image as carefully as he ran the Gambino crime family before eventually being imprisoned for murder and racketeering. Known for expensive suits and impeccable style, Gotti frequently wore a Piaget ultra-thin reference number 9765. This luxury timepiece featured an 18K white gold case, a diamond set bezel, and an onyx black dial. Gotti, known as the Dapper Don, selected this dress watch to pair with his custom suits during his high-profile court appearances. It perfectly matched his reputation as the elegant Don. Amado Carrillo Fuentes, known as the Lord of the Skies. Amado built his cartel empire using fleets of aircrafts to move narcotics across the continents, building a massive cartel empire. Unlike many modern cartel leaders, very few photographs clearly document his watches. However, multiple narco history discussions mention Amado owned and frequently gifted gold Rolex watches to his lieutenants. There are accounts that he gifted a Rolex to Ismael Zambada Garcia. A separate story says he gave a gold Rolex to Pablo Acosta Villarreal as the gesture of respect. The most likely model is iconic yellow gold Rolex day date, although Datejust or GMT Master from the era remains really possible. Matteo Messina Denaro. Italy's most wanted mafia boss spent decades hiding from the authorities, before finally being arrested in 2023. When police captured him, he was reportedly wearing a Franck Muller Cintre Curvex, worth approximately 30,000 to 35,000 euros. Interestingly, later reporting claimed the watch may have been purchased in 2009 at Fort Village in Sardinia, adding to the picture of Denaro's very lavish lifestyle while he was a fugitive. Some reports later mentioned Richard Mille, but the overwhelming majority identified the watch as the Franck Muller. Even after 30 years on the run, luxury remained a part of his lifestyle. José Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, better known as the El Chino Ántrax, was a Mexican drug lord, a professional hitman, and a high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel. He became famous as the founder of Los Ántrax, one of the Sinaloa cartel's most feared enforcement groups. Los Ántrax protected Sinaloa cartel leader Ismael El Mayo Zambada and his sons. After being sentenced to house arrest, El Chino was reported missing on 9th of May in 2020. He later reappeared in Culiacán, Sinaloa, where he was found murdered along with his sister and his brother-in-law. His social media lifestyle displayed expensive cars, weapons, and of course, luxury watches. Judging by those photos, he owned a Romain Jerome watch with the brand's distinctive rubber strap, featuring the embossed RJ logo on it. This style is characteristic for limited edition models such as the Moon DNA collection. He was also seen wearing an 18-karat yellow gold Cartier Pasha with a factory diamond bezel, a watch valued well above $20,000. Luxury was as much a part of his public image as violence, I guess. No list would be complete without Al Capone. Although he belonged to an earlier era, Capone remains perhaps the most famous gangster and infamous mob boss due to organized violence and bootlegging operations in history. A Patek Philippe pocket watch formerly owned by Al Capone was a highlight of Sotheby's important watch auction. The watch was sold for $230,000 in auction, despite minute hands missing and with a broken movement. This custom watch from 1919 features his initials AC on the reverse side of the case, spelled out in Art Deco style with 90 single-cut diamonds. Several reliable sources state that Al Capone also wore a yellow gold Rolex Prince, reference number 3140. At the time, the then young Swiss brand was still working to make a name for itself. Later, Rolex reintroduced it in 2005 as a part of the Cellini line. Our final entry is a bit different. Markus Braun wasn't a cartel boss or mafia leader. He was an Austrian businessman, the CEO of Wirecard, a German payments company that collapsed in 2020 after 1.5 billion that was supposed to exist in its accounts could not be found. The scandal became one of Europe's biggest corporate fraud cases. He is not your usual murdering, bloodthirsty criminal, but more sophisticated one. Still, he deserves his spot considering the scale of the fraud. Despite the white-collar nature of his alleged crimes, Braun had a clear appreciation for the watches. He has been seen numerous times wearing what appears to be a yellow-gold Patek Philippe Calatrava, reference number 510J or 5227J. Interestingly, during his trial he also wore a much more affordable Swatch Irony Edge, the Edgy Time, and a black leather strap. You can recognize it by those familiar Swatch lugs. Two watches with completely different price tags, but both reflecting remarkably classic tastes. Throughout history, wealth, power, and status have often been displayed on the wrist. From Pablo Escobar's diamond Rolex to El Chapo's extraordinary collection of Patek Philippe. These timepieces remain fascinating artifacts connected to some of the darkest chapters of organized crime. Which watch surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy videos exploring the history, stories and hidden details behind famous watches, don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm VJ and I'll see you in the next one.